In this video today, I'm going to describe how I tinted the rose hips on this tag. I used a stamp set by Alison Balmer, one of my favorite stamp designers, for PaperArtsy. I stamped the image in shadow gray so it would be very light. And then I added some watercolor. I used my Mary Blue. This is one of my little convenience palettes. Combination of Quinn Lake and cadmium yellow. This is a more neutral color than I want to see for this, so I'm just going to pull a little bit of this color off just by going in with my wet brush and pulling some of the color out of there. A good watercolor paper will act like a sponge, so as long as you keep this wet, you'll have time to do what you want to do. As soon as it dries out, you'll get some dry lines, and dry lines are sometimes really beautiful if you are letting your colors mix on the page and granulate a little bit. It can be really beautiful. Okay, that's a little bit lighter now, and that's what I was going for the first layer. And then I wanted to think about just maybe dropping in a little bit of color. I'm just going to drop a little bit of color in here at the bottom. I'm going to go back and work on that a little bit more, but as the next step, I want to just go back over here and re-wet this one. And wet this one. Again, adding just a light coat of color to begin with. I'm just dropping in a little bit more color into this. I think it's a little bit more than I want. So again, I'm going to go back in with my brush and just try to pull some of it out. Dropping in a little bit more red down here at the bottom, and these two. I'm intentionally keeping this one on the top layer a little bit lighter than the others. I think the key for doing this is just to make sure that you don't have too much color on your brush. It's a lot easier to add color in than it is to take color out. So just play with it until you get what you want. And if you don't like what you're seeing, go in and use your brush to pull some color out before it's too late, before your surface is dried. Because after your surface dries, you'll wind up getting dry lines. And I don't know if you can see that it's still shiny. This paper is still a little bit wet because it absorbs so much. This is a much more neutral color than what I did for this, but I really like it as a rose hip color. I might try to add just a little bit more red in there. For this one, I used a little bit more red than I did in this one. So this is the red that I'm using, and it's right here in this palette. So I only want very teeny tiny amounts for this. you can see that if I just add a little bit of this into the very base of it, I get a really nice color blend with the other colors that are already down. I'm just using the very tip of my brush. There's these little dots that are shown in Allison's stamps. I'm just adding a little bit of interest there where she had those little spots. I actually kind of like it just like it is now. One of my rules of thumb is it's better to stop too early rather than to stop too late because it's pretty easy to ruin something after you've gotten it the way you want it. So I'm going to leave this one like it is.